Booze and boards, boards and booze. Bad guys at large, it's bad news. No beer this time, so we won't lose. We found their lair, they'll pay their dues. The town is saved, so now we booze. Booze and boards, boards and booze. With Mickey and Jeb.
I don't.
You got nothing stupid?
No.
Okay, well we're playing Starcadia Quest. I have nothing stupid either.
Yeah, I know.
So you got to see a semi-normal opening, and maybe
right.
maybe people that watch this won't turn us off instantly because we didn't do anything stupid to start the episode.
Or the people who like the stupid stuff might unsubscribe because they're like, they're not stupid funny.
I don't know.
I'm always funny.
Yeah, let's go with that. All right. Anyways, Starcadia Quest. Yes, very similar to
Arcadia Quest.
Yes. Did we do an Arcadia Quest?
I thought we did. I could have swore
Way
we
back?
did. It's
Did
been
we
a
do
long time if
something?
we did it.
Can't remember if we did Arcadia Quest. It might have been in the heyday of us practicing to see if we were actually going to even do this.
Yeah, I'd have to look, and I don't.
All right. So anyhow, Starcadia Quest, 2 to 4 players, 14 and up. Might be a little high. And 60 minutes, that means 60 minutes of scenario.
And who is this from, Mickey?
And it is from Cool Mini or Not, or known as Simon.
Yep. So this is their
Space version of Arcadia Quest.
yeah, and it's supposed to be more streamlined. I think that was one of the big selling points on the Kickstarter.
Other than being a different genre, so if you're familiar with Arcadia Quest, you know that is the fantasy type setting, you know, your barbarians and wizards and things like that. This is your space setting with laser guns and robots and space monsters.
Space monsters. Space people. Space bunnies.
Jeb's just upset that they didn't do a Cowboy Bebop add-on.
There was some game that did like a reference to Bebop, but I don't remember. It might have been
There's a totally sidetracked, but I saw they did a 3D print and a card of Earthworm Jim.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been a good one.
So, yeah. So anyways, that's what it is. Eric Lang, one of the designers. I like Eric Lang stuff. So, yeah. But
and when did this? When did you get this? It was what,
a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't had it that long. I don't think it's been a month since I actually got it. Yeah. So, Kickstarter for me, not for Jeb this time. He was like, I already have Arcadia Quest. I don't get it to the table enough. I don't think he was that. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he was very enamored with the figures either.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't like them. They just didn't say, buy me.
Yeah, like when I saw a lot of the references in Arcadia Quest, I was like, oh, some of that stuff's cool, and I'd want to play with them. But with this one, like, I mean, I got the Alien stuff, I got the Star Wars stuff, but none of it's like, you got to buy this. Like, it wasn't calling me. And when Mickey said he got it, I was like, okay, well, I get to at least play it with him. So.
Yeah, and I'll be perfectly honest. At first, I was kind of the same way. I kind of lean a little bit. I like both, but I would say most of the time I lean a little bit more to the fantasy stuff, at least in my games. But I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I do like, obviously, the space stuff. When I saw the 3D sculpts and things like that of it, I was like, well, I don't know. Now that I have it in my hands, I actually like it a lot better. The biggest selling point for me was the streamline part that they were advertising because, Jeb and I have played Arcadia Quest multiple times, but it's still a hard one to get to the table, and the even harder part is getting through the campaign. Like, we got together with a friend, and we had to, like, book out an entire day. We're going to play the whole game, even though the game's set up so that you can play a scenario, keep track of everything, come back and do it again. Yeah. That's hard for us to do just because we try to do a lot of different things, and we at the time when Arcadia Quest was out, we weren't playing with Gary all the time. That would have made things a lot different. But as you know, we just haven't. We didn't circle back around and come to it. So the streamline part was probably one of the biggest attractions to go ahead and do it. And me being my stupid self, have to go all in when I can't.
Did you say all in, Mickey?
I'm in. I did. Yes, those are all the all the boxes. So if you want to know real quick what we got, so we get those little boxes are a bunch of little extra figures,
extra people.
Right.
So that's all of these guys.
Right,
and then you got these plastic tokens.
So this one is extras for build a robot, so you can make different robots. This is the plastic token pack, which is already in here. This add-on is Thorne Troopers, which Jeb is like comparing to the Storm Troopers. So this looks like an AT8 or ATST, and then like some of the. So this has 2 heroes, 5 monsters, and 11 new quest cards in it. So you got that add-on, and then the one that looks like the aliens, which is really cool. So you have the alien-looking guys. And 1 new hero card, 4 monsters, 14 quest cards, and then 11 minis in that.
I didn't even realize they got companions in this too.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay. This is the scenery pack. Even Jeb commented the doors are really cool.
Yeah.
The doors are really cool in that. This is the Build a Robot pack. I like the way they did Build a Robot. We don't go over it in the videos. We weren't planning on it. I don't know if we'll do it in the future. But, like, you get half of cards, so you can put, like, the body and the head and make different robots.
That looks like space monsters
and this is the Armada one, which is, so this one has a whole rule book for it. You get more campaign pads, a bunch of, and some more tiles, and a pirate ship dashboard. So, this is, but you still need the base game of Starcadia to do it, so this is kind of like an expansion. And then this, so we're getting...
Yeah, moving stuff out of the way.
Showdown is like a versus way to play the game. So a whole new rule book, cloth bags, more tokens, a large double-sided game board, and redesigned crew dashboards. So you can beat up on people with that one. And then the other expansions is Space Marauders, which again a bunch of space themes. That guy looks like Back to the Future Marty.
I think this has all the...
Yeah, this guy kind of looks like... there's a guy that kind of looks like Tron. There's a Princess...
Blade Runner.
Yeah, Princess Leia looking guy.
RoboCop, Spock.
Yeah, Spock.
That's from Firefly, right?
That's the Terminator.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then this is the first one that has... well, not the first one, but this one, like, the bad guys are the big bases. So if you know anything about the game, a big base model will fill the space rather than being able to put 2 models on it.
Okay.
So yeah, lots and lots of content as normal with a cool mini game, decent components. I've never liked their cards that much. They never go high quality on that, but any of the cardboard stuff is fine. It's just like the little dashboards and things like that are on the. It's every single one of them. It's a tiny complaint because they warp pretty quick.
Right.
But other than that, kind of typical for what they do. So that's all the content from the Kickstarter, and
they're probably like, "Come on, guys, just get us to the game, right?"
Well, this is intro. You guys can skip to the gameplay one and components if you want to, and guess what? Who painted a couple miniatures this time? This guy.
Who painted 5 miniatures and has 2 thumbs? This guy.
If you've watched some of our other videos, Jeb always makes fun of me because I never paint anything. And I really actually like to paint, and I've done, I've painted stuff before. Most of it.
I think you were the one who got me into painting.
I know, but most of the stuff has been Star Wars figures that I never get to play the game for. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
I got to play it once, and it wasn't even, I don't even remember if Jeb played, but I got to play Imperial Assault, which I have a bunch of painted figures for, and I have Star Wars Legion, which I've played once, and I have a bunch of figures for. So yeah, but I got 5 figures painted so far, and 3 that are half painted work in process. When those are done, that'll be 2 complete sets of monsters. Done.
In a span of 3 years?
Why does he have to be like that to me?
So
do you guys enjoy that?
2025, Mickey finishes Starcadia.
Do I ever pick on him? Oh. Alright, so anyways, we will be back, and we will go over it. We're just doing base box. You will see some of the upgrades from the Kickstarter in the base box in terms of components. Not like the...
We didn't pull out people.
Yeah, we didn't do extra people and stuff like that. So, base box game, and we've said before that we try to do something different rather than the intro. We did not do that with this because it's just...
You could pick any scenario, but it's like...
Right, so we just went through the basics just so you guys could get... here's what we tried to focus on. Mechanics, and trying to point out the differences in case you're an Arcadia Quest person looking to see, do I want to add Starcadia Quest to my collection, or I don't have anything, but I've heard of both, which one should I pick? So that's what we're hopefully trying to do with this. And then, of course, we do have a gameplay with 2 people, so you can go even in more depth if you want to.
Yep. And if you guys want, let us know. We can try to get a campaign going. It's only 4 scenarios, so we can try to do that as well.
Yeah, so basically you'd only have... it would be 4 episodes, and you get a whole campaign.
Yep.
Well, as opposed to, like, ones that go on a lot longer, like our... Arkham and our Gloomhaven and our Seventh Continent. This would be, 4 hours for your viewing pleasure.
Yep.
What is everybody's bet on who wins this time? Is it Jeb, who always wins, or does Mickey finally pull out a victory?
Well,
you'll have to watch.
We'll find out. All right, we'll be back.
Alright.
So we are here with Starcadia Quest, and we're going to go over the game components. So a few things to go over. The rule book, which is kind of...
in Jeb's hands?
Yeah. We've got... They're going to be like, this is the first video we're watching, this is stupid, turn it off. Alright, let's continue.
Okay.
Alright, game tiles. There's 10 of them. So... slide these over so Mickey can show them.
Alright, so this isn't the pile of 10. That's the back. They all look the same. That's a sample of what some of the fronts look like, and we will talk about their different parts later on.
There is a monster dashboard.
Yep. And notice the nice curvature already happening on the nice flimsy board. But it serves its purpose, so whatever.
Yep.
That's where you place the monsters during the game.
And they have stats and whatnot. There are the crew dashboards.
Take it out.
Yeah.
Crew dashboard. So basically, you just pick a color, and that's your dashboard.
There are shuttles. There's a shuttle for each
color.
So.
We're going to end up playing a 2-player game, and Jeb's going to be green, Mickey's going to be blue as normal.
There are 8 hero cards for the base game. If you did the Kickstarter, you got a ton more of heroes.
Got a bunch of heroes. But hero cards look pretty much the same as Arcadia Quest does. So those are the two that actually I'll be playing in the game. Jeb has 2 over on his side that he'll be playing, but they all look the same. So you know, character, ability, and stats.
There's monster cards.
Monster cards look like this.
Pretty similar to Arcadia.
Yeah,
Quest.
it's similar. Just that you have there's some different levels. Purple are the officer guys, and then villains are the gray ones. So
there are event cards.
Event cards. Guess what? They say event on the back, and then they have they're color coded to match who triggers in terms of monsters, and they have it's not really separated real well, but this symbol is the top part of the card, and then the word is the second part of the card when you're activating them.
There are the quest cards.
Quest cards look, they say what type of quest on the top, or what scenario they're related to, but on this side they kind of go like, there's a setup one, and then stuff to do on them. When we get into setting these up, we'll describe a little bit more, but this is a little bit different than Arcadia Quest. You'll hear us say comparisons to Arcadia Quest a lot because it's Starcadia Quest, and we really want to like highlight some of the differences for you.
There's also the campaign sheet pad.
And this is the campaign sheet pad, and it is actually there's the opposite side. It lets you track specifically your personal stuff, and then that's I guess that's what that means. I actually haven't looked at it real close, but this follows your path, and this has your victory points and stuff for it, and then the other side
Keeps track of your
upgrades because you can earn stuff just kind of like Arcadia Quest.
Yep.
through it. So good job on that. Plenty of sheets to get you going too.
All right. Then there are all the different figures. So you got figures for your heroes, figures for your villains.
Yep. And they made colored plastic for villains, gray plastic for heroes in case you haven't painted stuff.
Oh,
yet.
Painted stuff, huh? Look, and this is Mickey's game, not
Yes.
Jeb. So
Yes.
the one who painted them was Mickey.
Yeah.
And he was able to get 5 completed ones and a few half-painted ones.
Jeb almost passed out.
I know, I fell on the floor.
He's like, rest of the game probably won't get painted, but I can. He said they quote, "I'm gonna get to kill some bright shiny monsters this time." So real quick, base. Here's your base figures. That's base box. Like Kickstarter, tons more.
And then the last, there's a lot of tokens and things that are very similar to Arcadia Quest. So I guess I want to point out the biggest difference are the upgrade tokens. They actually are cardboard tokens instead of cards like they were in Arcadia Quest. And they do have backsides that are grayed out for when they get used, and some actually never get exhausted. So.
And they're marked so that you, like, similar to Arcadia Quest, when you, like what I'm holding here, starter stuff.
Yep. Alright, and then all the generic stuff, we've got portal tokens. We can do these really quick because they...
Portal tokens.
Portal tokens, victory tokens.
Victory tokens.
Doors. Mickey actually splurged on the...
There are cardboard doors in the box. Here's the cardboard doors.
Alright.
All the tokens you're seeing are the plastic upgrades too, so
yep.
Just know that in the box there are obviously all the cardboard components.
Yeah, there's the heart tokens, the quest tokens. What else we got?
All the gadget stuff. Here's the gadget tokens.
Yep.
And like Jeb said, quest tokens and victory points.
And there's also bases for your heroes that you can attach on.
I'd say I went with blue.
And the last thing is your dice, which Kickstarter, I think.
I bought the extra dice so it's like all people can have their own color. So if you know anything about the game, in the base box you get one set of black die that you can pass around the board to use. There is a lot of rolling in this game, so it actually is nice to have the extra ones. It certainly isn't 100% necessary.
And I believe that's everything for components. Alright, so now that we've shown you all the components, we're going to set up a game of Starcadia Quest.
Did you say Arcadia?
Yes, I did.
Good job.
Alright, so the first thing you want to do is choose your heroes. And I guess you pick your player factions as well, which is basically your color. So, Mickey, what's your color faction?
I went blue. This was an upgrade too. We have little holders for the player card, and it's grooved so that the things don't slide around as easily. I like it. I think Jeb does too. But this doesn't come in the base.
I like
it doesn't come in the base box, but it's really kind of nice.
And you want to grab your shuttle of the same color, I guess, just to have it near you.
So I got my shuttle.
And then the bases that attach to your heroes.
I already put them on my heroes.
Right. And which leads to the next thing is choosing heroes. So the book says that you can just look at all the heroes and choose, or you can draft them or do whatever you want to pick heroes. So,
and I think we did a little bit of a hybrid.
Draft, yeah.
So if you're curious on the way we drafted, Jeb and I did, so it was 2 players, so we dealt 3 cards, and Jeb drafted first, so he looked at the 3 and picked one, then I looked at the 2 left and picked one, and we discarded the last one. Then we dealt 3, I started, and I picked one, and then I handed the other 2 to Jeb, and he picked the exact one that I knew he was going to pick, and then we discarded the other one, and we were ready to start the rest of it.
Yep, so once you pick your heroes, you want to grab their hero cards and place them on your hero board.
And so I'm going to start showing you guys what it looks like filled up.
Alright, and then put your bases on your hero figures.
And since we don't have a board out yet, I'll just put those guys on the card, except I should probably put them on the right character.
Alright. Next, you're going to grab your upgrade tokens from the starter deck.
Right.
So there are 7 upgrade tokens that are listed in the book.
So again, these are the tokens. And so since Jeb's talking about starter tokens, I'm going to describe the tokens real quick to you right now. So you have the tokens, and they're going to have the stats on it, which you guys are probably already familiar with, but we'll go over stats later. However, down in the bottom right corner, there is a indication of what the token goes to. So these all have S's, and then numbers behind it, but basically the S stands for starter, and then there's ones that stand for after scenario 1, 2's for after scenario 2, 3 for after scenario 3, etc., etc. So anyways, that's how those work.
Alright, so you would decide where you want to attach each of them to your people. So
then you just put them in the slots.
And there is a division line down the middle, so it's 6 slots per hero.
Yep. Which is, as you probably know, different than what game, Jeb?
Arcadia Quest? And we should probably talk about these real quick, right?
Sure.
So there's 3 different types of upgrade tokens, and they're colored by red, green, and blue. Red tokens are weapons. Green are boosts. And blues are equipment, I think.
Forget what it's actually called. I was hoping you had already read it and was going to remember.
You knew it.
I know!
Passives.
He's got it, folks!
Yep, the blue ones are passives, and there's actually yellowish, orange, whatever, that are reactions.
Right.
So, and they all will have, so the weapons will have if it's melee or ranged, and then how many dice to roll for the attack. And then boost will show how many they add
to whatever attribute.
Yep. And then the blues will just have whatever passive abilities they provide.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how the tokens work. I guess just a real quick thing, when you attack, you pick a weapon and you pick what to boost with. So.
Yep.
All right. So the next thing you want to do...
we'll elaborate on using this stuff when we get to how to play.
Yeah. So the next thing you want to do is actually set up the board. And so since all the players have set up their own boards, you are going to take the scenario setup card and look through it.
We will be playing the starter, but this will give you a good example of how to do it. Jeb is actually smarter than me. He was like, take the back, Mickey, and just orientate it like they do on the picture.
Yep. So
I was sitting there looking at the fronts going, I gotta line up the doors this way. So and you know what was really amazing? That what Jeb did worked.
You have so much faith in me, Mickey. Alright, so this scenario calls for 4 boards, and they actually have it situated so that the numbers are different. So when I place the number 1 board, I'm going to turn it like that, and then the number 2 like that, and then number 3 like that, and number 4 like that. And this is out of your stack of 10, so...
Yeah, so it's gonna... So every time you do a scenario, this is how they change up the scenario. You basically shuffle these, and then pick how many you need for the scenario. Now watch the magic when Jeb flips these over.
Yep, alright. So you see, I guess the best way to do it is you flip like that, and then you see the name like this, so you're going to flip that way, and then same here, you flip that way, and this one's a little different, so you flip that way, and now everything's lined up.
Alright, now Jeb pointed out you are not going to be able to see this unless you actually have the card. So the important part of this is that the doorways are connected properly. So in this particular scenario, it's very simple. There's doors like here, 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 and here, which it goes around, the openings are all around on here. What Jeb noticed and I didn't is that if you look really, really close between these openings, there's like a little thin double line indicating that that's where a door is. You'll also, what you can probably see is these little marks outside of, and this is where you're allowed to place your starting shuttles. Notice that in this scenario, this doesn't have a starting shuttle, this doesn't have a starting shuttle, this doesn't have a starting shuttle. We don't do shards in this game.
No.
Anyways, that's what happens.
You good?
Sorry guys, we just watched Jackass last night.
Alright, so...
oh, look, it came out different.
It did, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is bring out the enemy board. So we'll put this up here. And if you flip to the backside of the setup, it'll show you what enemies are going to be placed.
Yep. So let's look at the back here.
Yep.
And
the scuttlebutt card is going to be the trooper number 1.
Number 1.
So they're over there. And then it'll say random for deciding 2 and 3. So
like we went like this.
Yep.
And Jeb picked one for number 2. And then number 3. Good job. This is not what we're going to end up playing with, just sneak preview.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you'll flip your setup card back over, and then it'll start.
So notice there's no purple.
Yep.
I mean, no officer, which are diamonds instead of the, I don't know, like army looking. I'm not a military person, so I don't know what those are. Ranks.
Yep.
Ranks, Jeb. I got it, buddy.
You're welcome, Mickey.
Okay. So we filled that. Place one scuttlebutt on each computer terminal on tiles 1 and 2.
So if you remember, it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, yeah.
So...
Computer terminal. Boop. And computer terminal. Boop. Alright. And then place one trooper of level 2 on the computer terminal in tile 3.
You'll have to grab that out of the box.
Who is it?
Peek-a-boom.
Peek-a-boom. Number 3, where does he go?
Right there.
On the terminal?
Yep.
And then a level 3 on terminal in number 4.
There's the Weeble.
And then place one blue quest token on the terminal in tile 1. So with the scuttlebutt. Okay.
Alright, so that's everything for that card. The other cards that come with that quest are the missions. So, or the quest, I guess, the terminology is PvE quest and PvP quest.
Right.
So you want to take the PvE quests of this scenario and place them next to the board, and that'll tell you what the objectives are in the scenario.
And it's important, these actually go in order. So if you're used to Arcadia quests, these have an order to them, and it's actually important. And if you don't know what PvE means, that means player versus environment. So here's number 2 of the scenario, Jeb. And then here's number 3.
He's talking about the number of the cards, because
right.
the setup card is number 1. But this is Quest 1, Quest 2, and then you're going to grab the PvP cards of every player color that's involved.
And PvP means?
Player versus player.
And there's blue and green.
So blue and green.
So there's your quest objectives for the intro scenario.
Alright, next up you are going to fill in all of the gadgets and victory points, or victory tokens on the board. So when you look at each tile, there are some kind of faded colored, like there's a starburst, which is a victory token, there's a lightning bolt, and like a medicine thing. You're going to take the tokens of that type and place them on those spaces.
So orange are the lightning bolts, and the blue is the victory, and I think it's green are the stim packs.
And I think purple's the hoverboard.
Yeah, we don't have any purples.
Which aren't in right now.
I think it is purple, I think.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it doesn't matter.
Alright. Yep, and we've got the doors placed. Portals will just be off to the side. There are portals built into the board.
Yep.
We have quest tokens on the side as well if anything ever is needed for them. In this scenario, it says every time you kill a trooper, you're going to take a face down quest token and use that to kind of count how many kills you have. So it's just kind of a common area. Then you're going to shuffle all the event cards and form the event deck.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. There's the event deck.
Alright. And we've got the monster board set up, so now you're going to do the shuttles. So beginning with the player who won the last scenario, which this is our first scenario, so in this case we're just going to determine who the first player is. In a campaign, it's whoever won the last scenario. So right now, Mickey and I will do a roll-off to see who's the first player.
Yeah, so in this game, we just pick up all the dice. Whoever gets the most crits wins. I got 1.
I got 1.
So we tied, roll again. I got 2.
I got 1.
Alright, so I would go... Actually, in the video, I don't go first, so Jeb's going to win. Anyways. But that's how we do our determine first player. We just all our dice. Whoever gets the most crits gets to go first.
So when setting up the shuttles, the first player is going to be the one who puts their shuttle in one of the designated areas. So
right,
you need to look at the card.
What's this? Oh, look, right by one of the quest things. So I'm going to do that.
And then going clockwise, other players will choose. So I'm just going to put mine here.
Yep.
So our shuttles are set up. We're going to put our heroes on the shuttles however you want.
I just want to point out real quick that if you remember in our Arcadia quest, there were actually, based on number of players, specific spots that you had to start from. This doesn't seem to indicate that. Jeb literally could put his shuttle right by mine if he had wanted to. It just says pick a shuttle spot.
Yep.
So just wanted to point out that difference.
I just did this out of convenience. So. Letting them
no, I know, but I just like if there was an opportunity for you to come crush me because you could, and hopefully you could just Mickey, you're not getting the quest thing first or whatever. Right. I just wanted to it made a point of trying to get you on opposite ends in Arcadia quest. Right. This does not do that. So and then Jeb said we're gonna place our characters.
Yep, and your shuttle contains 2 spaces, and per the rules, you can have 2 characters in a space. Mm-hmm. So you can set it up however you want. I don't know why you wouldn't, but
right, yeah.
I mean, there might be small.
And we haven't done every scenario. We haven't done every configuration. We don't know. The different spaces in the shuttle are very hard to see, though. But they do have the dots for line of sight, so. I'm going to do the same thing as Jeb, put both my characters right there in the front so they can get out quickly.
Alright, so you are now set up to play Starcadia Quest.
Don't forget your dice.
Yeah. Alright, so the game's going to begin with the first player, so Mickey is actually first player in this example. So what happens on a player turn? The first thing is he activates one hero that he controls, or he rests. It takes a rest, which is like his whole crew, which we'll get into. And then after he does one of those 2 actions, he'll draw and resolve an event card. So that's the whole turn, overview.
Right. So literally only 2 things you can do, activate or rest, and when you activate, you only activate one character.
Yep. So, Mickey, your starting turn, what would you like to do first?
I am going to go ahead and activate a character.
Alright.
I will activate Han Alone, which is this character.
So when Mickey activates a character, he can do 2 things. He has movement, which consists of 4 movement points to spend, and he can attack.
Right.
And with movement points, you can use it to move to an adjacent space or open doors, or if there's any scenario actions that require it, use them on that.
Right. So we'll show you a few different movements right now, just to show you mechanics of the game. Obviously, if you want to see how it flows, then actually watch gameplay. But obviously, right now we're trying to get you through mechanics. And if you're wondering, if you haven't played this genre of game before, Jeb got the 4 movements. It's inherent. It's not on any stats. The heroes just get 4 movement points to play with. Of course, if you had some kind of upgrade or something that added more, but in general, all the heroes get 4 movement points.
Yep. One thing about movement, it's only orthogonal, no diagonal.
Correct. Everything in this game, unless there's something that breaks the rules, is orthogonal. Okay, so I will take Hannah, and so here's, from this position right here, here's everything I can do. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. I can go 1, 2, 3, stop there. Or I can go 1, 2, 3, get on the portal, but I still have to stop there. But I can, from here, interact with a door. 1, 2, 3, and for my last movement point, I could open a door.
And this is what the open door looks like if you can't see from that angle.
If you're playing with the cardboard pieces, you would flip it over to the open side. If I started my movement there and Jeb was coming at me, I could use one of my movement points to close the door. Alright, let's say we've moved a little bit and this is the start of my turn, and I have 4 fresh movement points. I could go 1, hit a portal, look around the board for another green portal.
There's 1.
2,
to use the portal.
To use it, and 3 to land on that place with all that stuff. And then what happens the second that I hit that, Jeb?
Okay, so we have to talk about guard reactions.
Oh, I forgot about that. I wasn't looking for that yet.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, we'll talk about guard reactions in a second, but pretend there wasn't a monster. Mickey just moves here. There are all these things on his tile with no monsters, so he can just straight up pick up all of these, and they go over to the hero that picked them up.
The hero that picked them up. That's kind of important.
The victory point is kind of a shared thing, so it's not on the hero, but the other two stay on the hero until he swaps them around.
Right, during the rest phase or whatever. But the important thing to note about where I was going with that is the second that you touch that space, you get them. I've used 3, and I could continue my movement to the to one more space if I wanted to. That was a... when Jeb and I were looking for some of the problems in the game on BGG and whatever else, and just reading through the rule book, we were like, well, that seems weird. 100%, even in the FAQ that they've already released, if you touch a space with tokens on it, you pick them up. Yes, Jeb?
No monsters in them, right?
No monsters in them.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's important. Yeah, no monsters.
Yep.
So
that was the use of portals.
That's the use of portals
and
picking stuff up. So we can put that back now if you'd like.
All right.
Am I missing anything else? So that's movement.
There are things that block movement.
Yeah.
So like Mickey could not move here because there's a wall in the way. I think that's about pretty much it with movement being blocked. Another thing is if there are 2 characters in a spot, that is a full spot, and I believe that blocks movement, right? Or does that block line of sight?
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. All right.
You just can't end in there.
Okay, so there is a limit on the spaces that there can only be 2 figures in it, and I believe the exception are the large base figures, which only one of them could occupy it, and this is like the default size of the figure.
No large base in the base box, and so if you are an Arcadia Quest person, pay attention to what Jeb just said, because a full space with enemies does not block your movement or line of sight anymore.
You just can't end on it.
You just can't end on it. You can move through it, and it doesn't block line of sight.
Alright. I think that covers all the movement stuff.
I think it does.
Yep. Alright, so say you moved your 4, and you decide to land on that green portal. And now what can... Actually, one thing, you cannot interrupt your movement with your attack.
That's correct.
You either move and attack or attack and move. So in this case, Mickey moved his movement, and now he has an attack available if he wants to do an attack.
Alright, so I actually am within a range of this scuttlebutt. So for the attack, I would have to have a ranged attack because I'm not close. So let's talk about close for a second, Jeb.
Alright.
In this game, they will use the word close in the rule book a lot. It has to do with the whole orthogonal thing. So if you are close to a model, you are either in the same space or you are in an orthogonal location. So this is close and this is close to a model.
I was going to say,
okay, sorry.
What is close to Mickey right now? Anything that would be in his spot, in this spot, in this spot, in this spot. But there's a wall here, so this is not close to him.
Much better. Yeah. Okay. So, where should we go from here?
Let's make an attack.
Okay. Alright, so let's talk about attacks, because that's the other thing you can do in this game. So you have ranged attacks and melee attacks. Yep. Melee attacks, I have to be close. Am I close, Jeb?
No.
Okay, ranged attacks, I have to have line of sight. So let's talk about line of sight, Jeb. How does line of sight work in this game?
You will draw a line from the center of your square to the center of the space of the target of your attack, and if that is uninterrupted by a wall, then it's a good attack. Yep. Or you have line of sight.
Right.
And then in this case, you draw the line, and there's like the artwork kind of has a little lip that would get in the way.
Right.
It's not. That does not block line of sight. We're talking about a full wall through.
Yeah.
I think that's more art
You
aesthetic.
can cut corners, but if there happens to be another square that's like if there would happen to be another wall or whatever, you can't shoot.
Right.
If it looked like there was a gap, you can't shoot through it.
Right.
So right now, I actually have line of sight to there. There are little dots in the center of your squares, so basically draw a line. Look, I can shoot there. I can shoot there. This is unlimited range. I can't reach there because there's a wall. This, I can hit this guy, and I actually have line of sight to this,
You can shoot
not
over
this.
Here, right?
I have there, not here. Boom,
You're
right through a
through.
wall. I have line of sight here. I have line of sight here. No. 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 Yes. Okay? So, scuttlebutt.
All right.
I'm going to make an attack, Jeb. What do I do?
Well, first of all, you got to look at your character. Do they have ranged attacks or only melees?
I have a blaster rifle, and it is a weapon that has ranged attack.
Awesome. All right, so you are going to select your ranged attack weapon.
Okay, I'm going to use blaster rifle.
All right, and then you can select the boost that you want to do to boost it.
Okay, so I have 3 dice with this because the blaster rifle says 3 guns.
Yep.
So that means I get 3 dice with that. I really want to make sure I kill this scuttlebutt, and this kitty prime up in the corner here has 2 more guns, so that would add 2 more dice to it.
Yep.
So I will exhaust both of these,
And when you exhaust your upgrades, you flip them upside down.
pick the dice that I want.
So he gets
3.
3 plus 2 is
2.
5.
Wait a second, her ability says when the target has no wounds, she does not exhaust the weapon.
Oh, well then you better use that
Oh,
ability.
I better not do that because he has no damage on him yet.
So that's an example of
Of an ability.
an ability overriding the rules. So, all right. So you've got your attack dice. Is that all that we need to look at?
For me,
Correct. So the model that Mickey or that you're attacking, you're going
Scuttlebutt.
Yep, it's the scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
So we're going to look at the stats of the scuttlebutt, and it actually has 2 defensive dice.
Yes.
So the player, I can't remember if it's to the left or right, is going to be the one
It's
rolling.
to the right.
So, but in this case, it's a 2-player game. So I will be rolling for the scuttlebutt. Mickey rolls for his attack. So
Okay.
Mickey has his 5 dice, and I've got my 2 dice. Ooh. All right. So now we can talk about the different sides
Of the dice. Okay, so guns are what I'm looking for ranged attacks.
Yep.
And I got 1, and these all have knives, Jeb. What are those?
That's melee attacks.
Those are worthless.
So they don't count for you.
But what is that nice star?
That is
Burst.
a little thing called a crit.
Okay.
And those are the best things to roll.
Yeah, but yes. A crit is a success no matter what kind of roll you are doing. A defensive roll, a melee attack, or a ranged attack. It's a success, period. And what else happens if you roll a crit, Jeb?
You get to roll another die.
Alright, so I get to...
You can... There's ways... It just depends on how you play.
Yeah.
You kind of want to save your rolls that don't count, just because sometimes you can re-roll stuff.
True.
So just bring in a new die for your crit. I know some people are like, well, we can just count how many you've got and then roll a die again.
I didn't do very good here.
But,
like, so the scuttlebutt, he only has 2 health.
He's got 2 health.
He's gonna die.
Mickey, well,
okay, go ahead.
I didn't tell him my stuff.
Okay, sorry.
So Mickey got 2 hits, and I rolled no shields. So on defense, you're looking for crits or the one with the shield. So I didn't get either of those, so that's no defense for me. So 2 minus 0 is 2.
2. However, if you look at the stats of the monsters, this whole row has 2 health, because this is the way the monsters work in this game. And then all of these monsters have what's called overkill. So we need to explain overkill. Overkill is if you can get 4 wounds, then the monster will get no basically counterattack. Okay? So right now I only have 2. So the monster, whether it dies or not, is going to get to have a chance to attack me. I do have one more bonus that I could try to get some more, and it's a passive ability, so I should probably try. So my shirt gives me a reroll every single time. That's the reroll symbol right there. So why would I try when I only have 2? Because if I get a crit, I would be able to ride in. So I got 3. So
3 minus 0 is 3, so it's enough to kill, but not
overkill. So guess what's going to happen now?
Alright, so the Scuttlebutt actually gets to activate before it dies.
Yes.
And what the player to your right gets to do is perform a move and an attack. So right now the Scuttlebutt is a melee character, so it can't actually hit Mickey from there. So I'm going to move it 1, and then now I can perform the attack. So looking at the Scuttlebutt, it's got 4 dice and no effect. And Mickey has how many defense?
I have 2, but my red shirt adds 1 more, so I get to add 3 dice for my defense.
Alright, so we roll. And my attack is a melee, so I'm looking for knives. So I got 3 knives and a gun, so it's 3 against Mickey's 0.
I rolled a 0, but I still have my shirt, and it's a new...
Yep.
It's like basically a new thing is happening, so I get 1 reroll. Guess what I got? Nothing. Big fat 0, so I take 3 in the face.
Yep, so the difference is 3, so Mickey will take 3 wounds, place them on his character, and now the Scuttlebutt is dead. So when you defeat a monster, you get a victory points equal to how much the board says they're worth.
And this one's 1?
And the monster is removed from the board.
Right. So that is 100% the entire attack phase. If you don't understand overkill, if I would have got 4, he would have just come off the board. I would have got the victory point, and it wouldn't have got a it wouldn't have got an extra attack. An important note that if that Scuttlebutt had 1 damage on it, that does not mean that overkill goes down to 3.
Right.
It always has to be what that overkill number it is, no matter how much damage the model already has.
Yep. Alright, and then real quick, we talked about movement and the attack. When a hero makes an attack on a monster, it gets an opportunity to attack back unless it's overkilled. There's another way monsters can attack, and that's through, what is it called?
Guard reaction.
Guard reaction. And that deals with movement.
Yeah.
So every monster on the board, you want to look at what is close to them. So whenever you move, you can move into a space that's close to it, and the guard does nothing. There's no guard reaction. But the second you move out of a space that is close to it, the guard gets a guard reaction that gets a free attack in on you. So if Mickey moves 1 and then 2, that's technically moving out of a space that's close, so it will attack him if he decides to do that.
And then an attack works the same way. The other person gets to control it. What if I wanted to move away from that guy?
So if you move to either here or here, you're triggering a reaction. So if you moved here, he would get to attack you. And if you decide to continue moving, you're moving out of a closed space, so he does another attack. So trying to run away like that, you can get piled up.
In the same space really is awful.
The one exception are portals. So if this portal is actually in a closed space, if Mickey's there and he decides to use the portal to teleport, that gets around guard reactions. So that's how guard reactions work. So you just kind of have to be careful about when you're moving around monsters.
Okay. So the last...
He's gone.
The last way that monsters move around the board, I know we're talking about heroes right now, is these event cards, which you haven't got in yet. And the difference is that the player that draws the event card gets to manipulate the monster.
Yep. So speaking of which, Mickey has, in his activation, he's moved and he's made the attack. So he's done everything he can with that character. If he had any of these tokens, he could use them while he's activating that character. But he could not use it if it was somebody else.
Right,
So.
I can't use it on somebody else. I have to use it on my turn, and I can't use... the only one that's really a big deal is the stim pack, which heals you.
Healing, yeah.
You can't use it in the middle of combat. So say you were about to die, you can't pop it. You have to finish the whole thing, and then you can trigger that. Okay, so at the end of every player's turn, when they're done with their turn, you draw an event card. This is what... we went over this real quick. It's what an event card looks like. It has a top part, has a bottom part. So the first part basically tells you what monster on the board activates. So this is a red one, so it's the trooper level, and it's trooper level 3.
So that
so
is
it's
the Weeble.
So we look at the board. Are there any Weebles, Jeb?
There is only one Weeble.
So that's the Weeble that activates.
If there were 2 Weebles on the board, Mickey could choose one.
I could choose a Weeble. So
if there were no Weebles on the board,
I'm gonna spawn a Weeble. So spawning, real quick, I pick any of these orange spaces and I bring out a Weeble.
Yep.
That's literally how it works.
Or that, or whatever.
And the rules are you can bring it out on a spawn space as long as it's not full.
Right. So if there were 2 models on every spawn space, then...
Which... wow, I can't even imagine. I mean, I guess with multiple players it could get crazy and do that. And the rules state that if all the spawn spaces are full, then you can spawn it close to one of the spawn markers. I can't even imagine if that were that many monsters on the board. But it is in the rules. That's what it says.
All right. So it says that's the monster he activates. So what do you get to do?
Okay, so I get to use a monster just... I mean, they work pretty much like heroes, except I'm controlling the monster right now. The difference is the monster only gets 3 moves, and...
the movement is on here.
Yeah, it gets... in this case, it gets 3 moves, and then it can perform an attack. It's important to note that if the monster wants to attack first, it gets no moves.
Right.
Okay, so let that sink in. You don't get to move the monster after the attack. So, yeah, Jeb hasn't come out of his little shuttle yet. So I'll move him 3 towards him. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, why not? So that's going to force him to use the yellow portal or get smacked in the face.
And a couple of notes: when Mickey whenever somebody activates a monster, monsters can use portals. The same way heroes do, and they can open and close doors
with their movement points.
With movement points. Yep.
Right.
So, and then he's not in range because he's a melee, so he can't actually hit me.
Right.
So that's the activating of the monster.
Part.
Yep. So
now we do the bottom.
All right.
And this one says, choose a tile. All characters with at least 2 life on that tile suffer one wound. Yes, shuttles count as a tile in this game. So if I'm playing smart, I am picking Jeb's shuttle and giving him a wound on each character.
So I would take a wound and put it on each of them.
However, if I was worried about monsters, let's say a monster was close to me and was almost dead, I could pick that tile, take a wound myself, kill the monster. So literally, these are the 4, 5, and 6 places I can say that tile. Every characters in this game are heroes and monsters.
Yep.
So in that case, yeah, I'm gonna pummel Jeb.
Yep. All right. So
discard that card, and it would be
now it would go to my turn.
Jeb's turn.
So pretend I did something and I ended my turn, and now it's back to Mickey. Mickey, let's show them what a rest action looks like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so rest action. I got pretty pummeled by that monster first time, so I'm 1 away from dead, and let's pretend that digits already got used up.
And let's pretend you died.
Right, and let's pretend I died.
Yep.
Let's pretend digits still on the board though.
Okay.
Okay, so we're in pretend scenario, and I'm like, I gotta rest because everything's depleted. So what I do is, the first thing I do is I refresh all my upgrades. So anything that's gray, I flip over to ready. That's both characters. Then I can switch around any of my upgrades to, like, in between characters, and if I have any of the
tokens, like
any of those tokens, I can swap those between characters also. This is the only time I can do this. And then the very last thing I do is I resurrect any characters that died. So when I resurrect, I have two options. I can bring it in on the shuttle, or I can bring it in close to an ally.
So that could be here, or in the space of the ally.
Okay? So, and then I heal all of the damage off of a resurrectant. I don't... If Digits had damage, Digit doesn't get healed.
Only the resurrecting one.
Right, only the resurrecting one. And then that's my entire turn, and then the turn goes back to Nick. It's not the entire turn, because I still have to draw an event card and carry out the event card.
Oh, what happens in this case?
This is a good example. Now I got a purple one. Notice there's no officers in this game, so the top part doesn't go off, but the bottom does. The bottom in this case says summon any trooper. Troopers are all the red ones, so I can pick any trooper on there that I want, and I like eyeball guy with the gun, so I'll summon one and put it next to Jeb, because I don't like him.
Alright. Dang, he looks mean.
And he has ranged. Ooh, so he can shoot Jeb. But not through those walls. I didn't even notice that. Did you see all those walls right there? Wow.
Alright, so that was the end of Mickey's turn. So I think that kind of gives an idea of what can be done on a turn between either activating or resting.
Yep. 100%. Yep. That is pretty much basically the full mechanics of the game. We can talk about monsters a little bit. Yeah.
Or what about monsters?
I don't know, in case...
I think the only thing we really need to talk about are these and ending the scenario.
Okay.
Alright, so we've covered a lot of this stuff, but the whole question is, what are you trying to do in the scenario, right?
Yeah.
So these quest cards will tell you what you need to do. So, for example, the first quest for the distress signal scenario, it's whenever the first player to kill 3 troopers, and these are all troopers, so just killing 3 of them completes the quest, and you keep track of that by placing one of these every time you kill one. So if Mickey kills 3, then he would complete this quest. And what happens when you complete a quest, Mickey?
When I complete the quest, you flip the card over to show that it's completed, and I take the victory points that it says down there.
Yep, so he would get 2 victory points, and this would flip over.
Because only one person can complete a quest.
Yep. And then, like Mickey said earlier, you have to do these quests in order, the ones that are PvE. So he did quest 1, so now quest 2 is you need to bring this blue token over to this terminal, and in your turn with nothing in your spot. So once he does that, or I do it, then it would flip over and whoever did it gets the 4 victory points.
Yep.
As you notice, there's 2 PvP quests, and these say that the first player to kill a hero from either the blue or the green. So this is whenever
2-player game, right?
Yeah.
So when Jeb kills me, he'll complete it. When I kill him, he'll complete his.
And you can't complete your.
You can't self-sacrifice and get the victory points.
Right. So that works the same way. And then the big thing to note is once all of the PvE quests are completed and one of the PvP quests are completed, that instantly ends the scenario. So these are the things you kind of want to do while you're playing the game.
Right. And I'll reiterate it one time because we've said it twice. The big difference in this is in Arcadia Quest, you don't have to do this stuff in order. I mean, the player versus environment, you don't have to play in order. Makes a big difference, too.
For Arcadia Quest, you don't have to.
For Arcadia Quest, you don't have to. I mean, I was just saying it makes a big difference in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because we started when we were just starting out. We missed that fact. And it's kind of a huge difference because it forces everybody to do the same thing, whereas before you could do your own thing.
Right.
I mean, it's not forcing you, but you know what I mean.
But it's kind of making everyone go to more.
Right.
Yeah. And the PvPs can be done at any point. There is no order for these.
Right.
And then once the scenario ends, you're going to compare victory points. So whoever has the most victory points is the winner of the scenario, and they get a badge, which is used in campaign mode. So you get a badge for being the victor of the scenario, and then everybody gets a badge for every 7 experience points they've earned.
Victory points.
Victory points, yes.
Yep.
So.
Right. And just as an aside note, when a monster kills a player, every other player gets a victory point. So that's a little key to remember during this kind of stuff. And I think that's not. I don't think when the player kills another player that everybody else gets one. Pretty sure that that's not the case in this game.
I did not see that.
Right. But if a monster kills a player, then everybody else gets a victory point. Oh, also, in terms of victory points for the monsters, it's the person that does the last wound that finishes it off. So if I did a wound to one of the bad guys, but I didn't finish him off, and then Jeb came up and finished it off, he gets all the victory points. There's no splitting. Did we miss something?
Yeah, we did miss something. When a hero kills an enemy hero, their crew gets 1 victory token. So killing...
all the time?
Yep, every kill will get you...
okay.
Well, I mean, this is just for the first kill, but every time I would kill one of your heroes, I
get another victory point. Okay.
Yep. So that is something that we had missed earlier.
It's just everybody else doesn't get one.
Correct. It's when the monster kills is when everybody else gets it.
one. Okay. Yep.
Whoever finishes the first PvP quest in a scenario will unlock the reward for that scenario. So there is 1 token per scenario, and it's labeled with the scenario and an R for reward. So whoever completes the first PvP quest in a scenario will instantly get this, and they'll be able to put it on whoever.
On their board. And the reason that we kind of debated this a little bit, but we looked up in the rule book about, like, when do you get it at the end or do you get it instantly? Somebody pointed out that there's rewards for the last scenario. So if it wasn't instant, there'd be no point on having rewards for the last, having reward choices for the last scenario. So it's instant unless we're told otherwise. But again, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be correct because it would 100% make no sense to have one for the last scenario.
And then I think the last thing to talk about that we're not going to go in depth about is the campaign mode.
Yeah.
And the way it works is you play scenario 1, and then after you finish the scenario, you're able to get upgrades from scenario 1. They're labeled with 1s. You get to choose...
you put like a marketplace out,
right.
And the winner gets to choose 2 of them first. Then it goes down the line.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to pick 2.
I think it snakes back, right, so that everybody has 4? Or no?
Something like... I don't remember exactly how it does it. Then the badges come into play a little bit. Yep. This is unimportant unless you can read this stuff by yourself. And then the big important part is whoever won gets to pick the next scenario to play.
Yes, and the way that it works in a campaign this time around, which is different from Arcadia Quest, is you start with 1 and then you choose either A or B for 2, and then whenever you finish that, you pick the 2 choices for that, and they all lead to 4 in the end.
Yeah.
So you're only playing 4 scenarios a campaign.
Yeah. So like, there's a kind of a huge difference on, I feel like, on how many, but the randomness in this game. So Arcadia quests are set. Like, the scenarios are always the same board. I think you're going to have more picks, but this one, the boards are always random. Like, you're going to watch us play, and what you're going to see us play is not this.
Right.
Like, we randomized to show you this, and then we randomized to play the game, and it came out different. So that's where another difference that they did between the two games. Did we cover pretty much everything?
I believe
differences between the two that you can
I figured we
remember
talk about differences in the review.
Yeah, we will, but I mean, we kind of talked about it here too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, another one is these tokens in Arcadia Quest, they were face down question marks.
That's
so
right.
That was a huge thing because some of them were traps, and they kind of got rid of all of that and just have these. You know what to go for now.
Yeah, because of the event cards, and if you're questioning that, Jeb can flip one, and you'll notice that they're
no
exactly
backside.
the same. So everything is 100% face up. I mean, there's 2 things that are.
Yeah,
they're still the same.
The quest tokens have
we haven't seen why they have a green and a pink yet. So they could use these for scenarios where it's like, I have to do this special assignment, put a green one over there. Anyhow, and that's another little different thing. If I remember correctly, in Arcadia Quest, there were some scenarios where it's like, okay, you finished the quest, and you put a token on there to remind you that you did it. But I could do it too, and then I put my token on there to show that I did it.
You just don't get the initial victory rewards.
Right? But I get the fact that I did it,
right?
And so I can't do it again,
right? Because that one ended when a player completed a certain number.
Yep. Okay, so hopefully this is, both quest games are pretty straightforward. So we're gonna go into a 2-player game with just Jeb and I, and then after we play, we'll give you our thoughts and review on the game.
Yep.
All right.